of him just going over different techniques. I was watching him. He had me putting tape on the floor.
Few could have foreseen the breakup between Tank and his longtime trainer Calvin Ford, but the boxing world has seen many unexpected turns. For Davis, Ford was more than simply a trainer. He was a father figure who had supported him through every difficult battle, significant victory, and disappointment. Davis' decision was even more unexpected because the two appeared to be inseparable. But at last, Calvin Ford has explained why.
About the bond that you have with your head trainer, Calvin Ford. You guys have been together since the beginning, and talk about a winning combination between you two.
It's family, it's loyalty.
Rumors that money was the root of the problem quickly circulated. First of all, for boxers like Davis, who are accustomed to receiving large salaries, money sometimes causes stress in the high-stakes world of professional boxing. Close relationships can become battlefields due to financial issues. Rumor had it that Davis and Ford were at odds because Davis had been delaying payments to Ford. In boxing, this is not unusual. Davis and Ford may be the most recent of several well-known duos to break up over money matters.
Insinuating that you are not being paid or you are not being paid properly by Tank. Is he just trying to stir the pot to get the fight between Devin and Tank? Or is there something there?
Let's look at this. How long have I been with Tank?
All my life, as long as I know, all his life.
It's not about the money with me. Tank takes good care of me. He gives me what I ask for when I ask for. He know I'm not into the money. You give me the money, I'm gonna spend it all on my kids. That's just...
Calvin Ford recently shared deeper insights into his split with Davis during a heartfelt interview, revealing a perspective many fans hadn't considered. Ford admitted feeling hurt by the separation, but he emphasized that his main focus had always been Davis' success and safety. I tried to stop him from making choices that could jeopardize his career, even if it meant being tough, Ford said. He highlighted that Davis was more than just a fighter to him. He was someone worth protecting, even if that meant pushing him in ways Davis didn't always appreciate. Ford's candid words brought attention to a broader issue facing young athletes: the relentless pressure to perform at seemingly impossible levels. In the high-stakes world of boxing, athletes are constantly under scrutiny, expected to outshine their competition by being stronger, faster, and tougher.
Let me explain something to you. Tank don't look at me as coach, he look at me as dad. Do it look like his son supposed to be taking your dad? I don't even feel right. Y'all hear this time? Tank don't pay his coach. Tank gives me anything I want.
Right.
But I'm a man at the end of the day. Absolutely. And I'm a hustler.
Right.
This unyielding pressure can lead some fighters to consider using performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, for an edge. Ford did not shy away from expressing his concern, admitting he worried that Davis could be at risk of taking that path. His transparency underscored his protective nature and commitment to Davis' well-being, stressing the difficult balance between fostering excellence and ensuring integrity and safety.
Ford, what does he mean to you when you hear that name? What does he mean when you first hear that?
A father. Father. And then he's one of the guys that held a lot of this, like this whole family together. Him with Kenny, but for sure, like them two, they held the whole camp together.
For Davis, Calvin Ford was more than just a trainer who helped him perfect his punches or plan fight strategies. Ford was someone who deeply cared about keeping him grounded. This became especially important as Davis' fame grew in the high-pressure world of boxing, where the allure of glory and fame can often overshadow everything else. Having someone like Ford to guide him and steer him away from potentially damaging decisions was crucial. Ford's role went beyond the professional, it was personal. He saw himself as Davis' protector, someone determined to prevent him from making choices that could jeopardize his future. When fans look at a boxer like Davis, they see his strength, skill, and knockouts. But there is another, less visible side of the sport, the part where fighters must balance immense pressure and their well-being. Ford was all too familiar with this aspect of boxing, understanding the risks that came with fame and success. He felt it was his duty to shield Davis from the dark paths that sometimes accompany a rise to prominence. However, As if the split between Davis and Ford wasn't already dramatic enough, things took another turn. In December 2023, news broke that Ford had been arrested in Las Vegas after allegedly brandishing a firearm during an intense dispute. The details of the incident were troubling, and the timing couldn't have been worse for Davis. Almost immediately, social media buzzed with comments like trainer, like fighter, suggesting that Ford's behavior might cast a shadow over Davis. In the world of boxing, reputation is paramount. A fighter's image can impact sponsorships, fan support, and their marketability for major fights. For Davis, the arrest of this former mentor threatened to bring unwanted attention at a time when he was trying to establish himself as an independent force in the sport. To many, Davis' split from Ford might seem like a calculated move to distance himself from any negative press. But was it that simple? Despite the turmoil, Davis is not letting the past hinder his ambitions. Recently, he announced plans for a major series of 6 or 7 fights that could become some of the most lucrative in boxing history. Davis has set his sights on securing a deal that rivals those of legendary figures like Floyd Mayweather. Through these high-profile bouts, he aims to solidify his status as not just another competitor, but a dominant force in the sport.
Another thing I want to touch on is the Floyd situation. You know, Floyd is Floyd. That's like I say, Tank is Tank, man. But at the end of the day, you know, the man is chasing greatness. And you should be supporting that. I always tell you that. You should be supporting that, you know. It's a rocky road that we see what's going on. Just pay attention, man.
Davis is aiming for high-stakes bouts against some of the best fighters in his weight class, including as Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. These battles are significant. They might distinguish Davis as one of the greatest of all time. Davis currently seems to be in capable hands under Leonard Ellerby's tutelage. Recently, Ellerby, who has handled some of the top boxing names, commended Davis' talent and tenacity. Learby declared, "He's a complete fighter," demonstrating his belief that Davis is a formidable opponent due to his background and connections. As he prepares for what may be the most significant bouts of his career, Davis has a solid support network.
You know, Calvin, he been with me since I was 7. I used to sleep in Coach Calvin's house. I used to sleep at his job when he was working at a seafood restaurant in Baltimore.
When I had to train Tank, when I didn't want him to get in trouble and I wanted to make sure we was together, I used to take him to work with me. And he'd chill. Everybody know him. Everybody know him at work.
Tom Bradley's recent remarks have stirred a conversation that could impact Gervonta Tank Davis more now that Calvin Ford is no longer in his corner. Bradley argued that Davis's management is not doing him any favors by choosing Rowe, a super featherweight, as his next opponent. He sees this as a strategy to protect Davis by setting him up against weaker competitors, which might ensure an easy victory, but does little to cement his status as a true top-tier fighter. According to Bradley, Davis' team might be hiding something by avoiding more challenging matchups. He went so far as to label Davis as a total fraud, implying that the so-called Tank's Protection Program is at play, where Davis is matched with lower weight fighters to make him look unbeatable. Bradley pointed out that if Davis's management wanted to prove his mettle, they should have lined up a fight with someone like Edwin de los Santos, a fellow WBA contender who recently pushed Shakur Stevenson to his limits in a close fight. Fans and analysts agreed that a bout like that would genuinely test Davis' skills. Instead, they see yet another hand-picked, less risky opponent, and it's a decision that frustrates many fans who crave unpredictability and real challenges in his fights. Bradley criticized Davis's history of pulling up smaller fighters like Hector Luis Garcia and Leo Santa Cruz, who lacked the size and power to match a naturally bigger, stronger Davis. To him, Rowe was just another example in a pattern of Davis facing lighter opponents to maintain his undefeated streak. Bradley's concerns aren't isolated. Boxing reporter Mike Coppinger echoed similar thoughts, noting on X, formerly Twitter, that Lamont Roach had been a frontrunner for Davis' next fight just 2 weeks prior. And now Rowe, another 130-pounder, is being pulled up to fight Davis. Coppinger was critical of Davis' career path, pointing out that it has been carefully managed from the beginning to minimize risk. He described it as a career manufactured like a product to keep Davis winning in the spotlight and with few real tests against formidable opponents. This controlled approach has led many to question whether Davis' reputation as a powerhouse is truly deserved or if it's been protected to preserve his unbeaten record. Bradley's claim that Davis risks looking like a fraud may be harsh, but it reflects the sentiment shared by fans who want to see him step up and face serious competitive threats. The frustration lies in the perception that Davis' potential has yet to be genuinely contested, leaving doubts about whether he can hold his own against elite fighters in his weight class. As Davis approaches his 30s, the stakes are higher. If he continues to fight opponents perceived as easier, his reputation could suffer, and the question of his legitimacy as a top fighter will persist. For Davis to silence critics like Bradley and Coppinger and prove he's more than just hype, he will need to move beyond hand-picked bouts and confront true contenders. Otherwise, his career risks being seen as a series of safe, predictable wins rather than a legacy of true challenges and accomplishments.
DC and Baltimore guys don't like each other. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it was the DC guy that I got into it with.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So one of the older guys named Dana, he basically told me chill out, like nah.
Right.
DC and Baltimore don't fuck with each other.
Yeah, they don't. One thing about it, the city going.
Tom Bradley didn't hold back when discussing Gervonta Tank Davis' career trajectory, stating, "Look, this is the Tank Protection Program. This has been going on for a long time. They've been bringing guys up from lower weight classes to get in with Tank, and Tank looks spectacular. It's a cover-up." Bradley, while acknowledging Tank as a good fighter, expressed doubts about his greatness. From the looks of it and the matches he's been having, the dude looks like a total fraud, he added. Bradley lamented that instead of seeing Tank face a genuinely dangerous opponent, fans are once again presented with a predictable matchup where the outcome feels predetermined. Boxing analyst CER echoed this sentiment, admitting that the fight felt underwhelming and lacked excitement. "It's not the kind of fight that gets fans pumped up. It's going to be another Tank Davis KO victim," CER said. He stressed that while Tank's power is undeniable, such matches don't do much to bolster his legacy. A major frustration is Davis's management claiming there are no worthy opponents, a notion Bradley dismissed outright. "Yes, you do have an opponent in your stable. His name is Edwin de los Santos," he argued, emphasizing that both he and the fans would eagerly watch that matchup. Bradley hinted that de los Santos' style and power might pose a genuine threat, one Davis' team seems unwilling to risk. This further fueled doubts about what Tank's management might be trying to shield him from.